In a dusty corner of the world where no paved roads led, surrounded by barren fields and cracked earth, there lived a man named Ratan. He was a farmer, not a prosperous one, just a man who worked from sunrise to sunset on a patch of dry land that barely grew enough grain to keep him alive. His home was made of mud bricks and hay, its walls lined with old newspapers to keep out the cold. The village he lived in, Padmapur, wasn't even on most maps. There were no hospitals, no schools, not even a proper market. Ratan was alone. His parents had died during a flood when he was 15. He had no siblings, no wife, and no real friends. People in the village often whispered that he was strange, too quiet, too gentle for a man of the soil. While others fought over water or land boundaries, Ratan simply watched the stars at night and wondered if the universe ever thought of people like him. Life moved slowly. Each day was a copy of the last. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. Until one monsoon evening, something unusual happened. The sky thundered with the weight of rain clouds. Winds howled. Thatched roofs flapped and leaked. Most villagers stayed inside. But Ratan, as usual, was late returning from the field. His feet dragged through the mud, water soaked his shirt, and his mind wandered through his usual thoughts, mostly silent prayers for just one good crop season. That's when he heard it. A soft, desperate meow. At first, he ignored it. Wild cats often came down from the forest during the rains, but then he heard it again, sharper this time, almost like a cry. Covid and concern, Ratan followed the sound behind a broken fence near the old well. There, huddled and shivering in the rain, was a small white cat. Its fur was dirty, soaked, and matted. One of its legs seemed injured, and its eyes blinked slowly, barely holding on. Ratan hesitated. He had no extra food, no medicine, no time, but something in those eyes stopped him. He picked up the cat carefully and carried it home, wrapping it in the only dry towel he had. He used warm water to clean her wounds, gave her a bit of leftover milk, and laid her on a torn blanket near his stove. "Don't die," he whispered. "I don't have much, but I'll try." He called her Chandani, after the moon, soft, glowing, and distant. Chandani didn't leave. She stayed, not just for days, but weeks. Her leg healed, and her eyes became bright. Each morning she followed Ratan to the edge of his farm and waited patiently for his return. She would rub against his feet when he came home, curl up beside him when he sat under the neem tree, and sleep on his chest when the nights got too cold. The villagers mocked him. "A grown man living with a cat," they said, laughing. "Maybe he's gone mad." But Ratan didn't care. For the first time in years, he had someone to come home to. What he didn't know was that this one act of kindness was about to change everything. That year, something strange happened. Despite the worst drought in decades, Ratan's field bloomed. While other farms remained cracked and barren, his soil stayed moist. His grains were richer. His fruits were sweeter. Even the village chief came to ask what he had done differently. Ratan only smiled and looked at Chandni. "Maybe it's just good karma," he said, but luck wasn't the only thing changing. One day a stranger arrived in the village. A man from the city, well-dressed, with a camera and a notebook. He was a journalist, covering stories of survival during drought. He had heard of Ratan's miraculous harvest and wanted to know more. Ratan, nervous but polite, invited him for tea. The journalist noticed Chandni curled up beside the farmer and smiled. "She's beautiful. Is she yours?" "No," Ratan replied softly. "She just stayed when no one else did." The journalist wrote a piece about Ratan, the farmer who fed a cat and grew hope. The article went viral. Within days, Ratan received letters from across the country. NGOs offered him farming equipment. Agricultural departments invited him for talks. A university sent him a scholarship for a short course in organic farming. His once empty home filled with packages, visitors, and invitations. Yet through it all, Ratan remained the same. He still fed Chandni first, still walked barefoot to his field, still watched the stars. But now, when he stood in the field, he wasn't alone in spirit. Children from the village came to learn from him. Farmers followed his methods. The chief offered him a seat in the local council. He refused. "I am not a leader," he said. "I'm just a man who once helped a cat." One night, Chandni fell sick again, but this time it was worse. She stopped eating. Her breathing became shallow. Ratan panicked. There were no vets nearby. He had money now, but no time. He walked miles in the dark to the highway, begged a passing truck to take him to the city. At the veterinary hospital, the doctor was surprised. "People don't travel this far for animals," he said. "She must mean a lot to you." Ratan nodded. "She saved me before I ever saved her." Chandni recovered slowly. The story of a farmer who walked all night for a cat reached local news again. A charity in the city donated mobile vet units to nearby villages. Animal care programs were launched. Compassion, it seemed, was contagious. Years passed. Ratan's farm became a model village project. Roads were built, schools opened, clean water flowed through new taps. But he never moved to the city. He still lived in his old house, though now repaired, painted, and filled with books and animals. One evening, a reporter asked him, "What was the turning point in your life?" Ratan didn't think long. "The night I chose to help something weaker than myself," he said. That one choice changed everything. When Ratan passed away many years later, old and peaceful in his sleep, villagers built a small statue of him under the neem tree, and beside it, a sculpture of a small white cat curled at his feet. Children were told the story of the farmer and his cat, how one act of kindness returned 1,000-fold, how compassion is not weakness, but the start of every miracle. And on that statue were carved the words, "He gave when he had nothing, and received everything in return." Moral: sometimes the smallest act of kindness, done without expectation, becomes the seed of transformation. Compassion is the most powerful form of courage, and karma never forgets the heart that gives.